I'm happy to report that the There Is No Bad Evil Dead movie streak has not been broken. I saw Evil Dead Burn and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm liking how this franchise has kind of evolved into the Mission Impossible of the horror genre, but like in reverse. Because with Mission Impossible, you start off with this idea of different filmmakers coming in to do their own take on that series and those characters. And then years later, Christopher McQuarrie comes in to essentially close off the franchise with his own trilogy under his specific vision. But with Evil Dead, you already start off with the original trilogy directed by Sam Raimi and establishing what an Evil Dead movie is. And now he's handing it off to independent horror filmmakers to basically just do whatever they want and offer their own take of an Evil Dead movie. And that's something that I've really enjoyed seeing with these past several films. Every time a new Evil Dead movie comes out, I notice that there's this discourse that pops up where people just talk about how these movies aren't as fun as the Raimi films. And while they do lack a lot of the slapstick influences, I do find it odd that people don't consider these movies fun because I think Evil Dead 2013, Evil Dead Rise, and Evil Dead Burn are all just an absolute hoot. In fact, I would say that Evil Dead Burn, despite being the most aggressive and violent and dealing with some pretty heavy themes of familial trauma, toxic masculinity, and abuse, is probably the funniest of the recent ones because I was kind of cackling through a lot of this movie. I found it to be pretty hilarious. This is directed by Sebastian Banachek, who co-wrote the film with Florent Bernard. He's a French filmmaker, which makes some of the new French extremity influences make sense. But also from an editing and cinematography standpoint, I was reminded a lot of the sort of post-Saw torture horror of the 2000s, which is very stylized and very impactful and very visceral as well. Pretty much everything you'd want from an Evil Dead movie while still having a very distinct vibe of its own. There are some stuff here that connects with Evil Dead Rise, but as amusing as that stuff was, I'm glad that the next film in this franchise is going to be another standalone project. It's going to be Evil Dead Wrath. It's directed by Francis Galuppi, who made this really terrific thriller a couple years ago called The Last Stop in Yuma County. I would highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun, and I can definitely see why Sam Raimi thought he would make an interesting director for an Evil Dead movie. So I'm very excited for it. And, fingers crossed that the No Bad Evil Dead movie streak continues. So, but yeah, as far as Evil Dead Burn goes, I had an absolute blast with it. If you've seen the film, then feel free to let me know what you thought of it in the comments.